Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess, and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at what's happening for the price of Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin is sat at $30,030, down just 0.65% within the last 24 hours. And Ethereum is down at $1,900 as well, down 0.5%. Now looking at this, we need to see, is Bitcoin breaking any levels of support by moving to the downside once again? We'll be analysing the price of Bitcoin at the end of today's stream. We have a lot to discuss there, but first of all, let's take a look at what is going on in the news. We have some major news updates coming through here. So first of all, let's discuss what's happening with Binance. Now, check out the thumbnail for today's video if you have not already. It's something that I worked hard on this morning, and I'm pretty proud of what we've made there. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So Binance is experiencing more FUD. Now, is this something we see every single week? Yes. What we can see here is what we've seen first of all. Let's rewind a little bit. On the 14th of July, CZ tweeted that as we continuously strive to increase talent density, there are involuntary terminations. This happens in every company. The numbers reported by media are all way off. And this is because news reports broke from Wall Street Journal, I believe, that 1,000 people were being laid off from Binance. Now, we've seen these fears spread for quite a long time now. Since Binance since the SEC filed a lawsuit against Binance in the US, we have seen a lot of FUD being spread about Binance as a company as a whole. We've seen a lot of reports about layoffs. We've seen a lot of reports about them changing how they're structured internally. They have a lot of regulation now that they need to face. They need to face this lawsuit head on. And because of that, they have to change things around internally. CZ, the CEO of the company, is saying it's all FUD. Just ignore it. But when it's in the headlines every day, CZ, it's pretty hard to ignore here. Let's take a look at what else is happening here. So Binance has just turned 6, and CZ and the Binance team have written a little article here explaining how things have changed throughout the years in the cryptocurrency industry. Let's continue. What else have we got here from his tweets? He said, let's keep that one till the end. We've got another one here. So I learned today that a guy who was constantly spreading FUD about Binance was just because he pitched his project to Binance Labs and we didn't invest. Feel really sad for him. I hope he eventually finds his way out of it and actually focuses on his own project. So ZZ is doing everything in his power to stop the FUD being spread around Binance. But right now, with the regulatory pressure in the US, with the issues going on internally, it is so hard to ignore. Randy says, poor CZ looks in bad shape. If you're referring to the thumbnail, I think that's one of the best thumbnails that I've ever made. I'm so proud of that thumbnail today. Make sure, if you do like that thumbnail, to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let me have a sip of my coffee this morning. I've got a bit of a sore throat this morning. Right, we're ready to go. Let's see what's going on here. So we have in the next article, we've seen throughout the last couple of weeks as well, fears around BNB. Was the price going to decline? If we take a look at what's happening here, I'm just painting a picture right now of all the fear that's being spread around Binance in the last couple of weeks. You can see, obviously, BNB took a tumble when the lawsuit was filed against them from the SEC. It has not really recovered. It is currently down at $240. I mean, it was trading as high as $352 in just April this year, so you can see that is a massive decline there. When you compare that to other altcoins in the markets right now, it's pretty poor performance, but as expected. So we've got all this FUD spreading around CZ, spreading around Binance, but is this the end of Binance? Well, what's happened here is CZ, let's continue with this final article here. Binance dissolves its partnership with Argentine Football Association. They are pulling back in many different aspects. They're laying off certain members of the team. They're looking at cutting off some partnerships. We're seeing a lot of FUD spreading on social media. But is this the end of Binance? Now, we've seen the SEC in the US file lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. And there's a major difference between these two filings. So in both of those filings, they were saying that the companies were offering unregistered securities and therefore acting as an unregistered securities exchange. Now, with Coinbase, that was all. That's the whole filing. But with essentially, I mean, there's like 7 different prongs to that. But that's essentially the gist. That's the issue with it. The determination of where the cryptocurrency assets and the services they are providing are securities or not is how far the lawsuit goes against Coinbase. But with Binance, there's extra layers to this. And when Binance try and fight this regulation and this concern, in this filing, they have had to restructure how they operate internally. They had lots of people internally that were working to prevent something like this happening, preventing the regulators coming after them. But now the regulators have come after them. They've said, we need to change how we're doing this. We no longer need to focus on preventing this. We need to focus on winning this. So they've had to change some people within the team. We've seen some layoffs in the companies. We've seen, obviously, the volume of trading on Binance US drop massively. We've seen massive fluctuations in the price of Bitcoin on Binance.us compared to Bitcoin on competing services in the US because of that regulation concern and the amount of selling pressure on Binance US. We've seen market makers moving off the platform. We've seen a lot of concern right now around Binance and the future of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. And this is definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Now, we have seen in the last couple of days, CZ tweeted this tweet last night, which I quite liked. If you only invest during the bull market, then you are, by definition, only buying high. Not investment advice, just saying. Very honest tweet there, CZ. It seems like he's getting closer and closer to the line of crossing the line here. But he is saying he's always very careful on how he words things because he's in the limelight a lot. He could get into trouble potentially if he says something that's too far. But what we can see here is he's trying to stop the FUD about Binance so hard. He's got this definition on his link tweet that means means ignore FUD, fake news, and attacks. Now, he's been posting for left, right, and centre, trying to disperse the FUD that's in the news. The media is absolutely slating Binance right now. It causes a lot of fear for Binance holders and Binance users, but it also causes a lot of fear for the entire cryptocurrency industry. Now, if Binance were to collapse, it would cause, obviously, a massive dump in the price of Bitcoin. So that's the concerns we have right now. Whether this regulation and this concerns about how they are handling them when it comes to light as a problem or not is something we need to keep a close eye on, to be honest. We have seen a lot of layoffs in the last couple of weeks, but as we always say, that's normal during a bear market. During a bear market, these companies don't have as much demand, and with that lack of demand, they don't need as many employees as they had during that bull market. So it's a very difficult time right now, but we need to keep a close eye on this and see what's going on. But let's continue on to another story now and see what else is going on in the markets. We are talking about Ripple and XRP. So let's pull this one up. Ripple's CLO is optimistic US banks will consider using XRP after the ruling. So XRP did get ruled to be not a security in 3 of the 4 instances that were being discussed in court. So those 4 instances were sales to institutions, sales on centralized exchanges to retail investors, other sales including to employees, payments to employees through XRP token, and then the 4th one was payments from the CEO Brad Garlinghouse and another member of the team. What we can see here is the CLO is optimistic US banks will consider using XRP after ruling. Now, this lawsuit against XRP from the SEC has been happening for around 3 years now, and despite that, Ripple have actually managed to partner with many different companies all around the world and actually managed to partner with some CBDC pilot schemes as well. So they have used their technology for good throughout this 3-year period. And now that we have seen the court's ruling in favor of XRP in 3 of these instances, does this mean that the US banks will consider using XRP following this ruling? Well, this is a question that's being asked. A lot of people are discussing right now the possibility of the SEC appealing the court's decision that was just last week, stating that XRP is a security. Now, if they appeal that decision, it's just going to create so much volatility in the markets. If they win that appeal, obviously it would cause a huge dump. I think that's a lot further down the line, though. We have to remember remember this lawsuit is not yet finished. So when we're looking for an appeal, not everybody has the right for an appeal until until the lawsuit is ended. Only after the lawsuit has ended can they have an appeal, and I think they have a 60-day window to do so. So if they appeal like in the middle of the lawsuit right now, it's not 100% that they actually have the rights to that appeal. So they've got 10 days to do that following the court, I think, and then following the end of the actual lawsuit, when the whole lawsuit comes to an end, they have 60 days to appeal the whole thing, and they have the right to do that. So we will keep an eye on that. Whether that will happen or not, I just don't know. The SEC appealing and losing, they have a lot to lose there. So that's my opinions on that, but that's something I want to do a little bit more research on and see what is happening there. Continuing with this though, so we have seen the CLO is feeling confident. Obviously the CLO is feeling confident. They've been fighting a battle for 3 years, and they've just got the answer that they've wanted for 3 years. So it's very good for XRP holders right now. The XRP army is feeling super strong over on cryptocurrency Twitter right now. Let's continue with the next article here and see what else is going on. I'll have another sip of my coffee, and then we'll be ready to go. Jason Smith says, I like the new CSE background. I don't know if you mean the thumbnail or the background. Let's continue with this and see what else is going on here. Another Australian bank blocks payments to crypto exchanges in fight against scams. Now we have seen a lot of right, we fight a lot in cryptocurrency for cryptocurrency regulation. This is something that a lot of people in the space are trying to get. Now, we try and partner with banks, we try to make transactions with banks, and all of these banks don't want to work with cryptocurrency companies because the banks have their own regulation they need to abide by. We all complain about this, like this is obviously very, very frustrating, but this Australian bank is trying to make sure that it follows the regulation it needs to follow at the same time. So there's an issue here with the interoperability between the traditional financial system and the cryptocurrency industry, and that's where we need a new regulation there as well. As I always say, we are new into this industry, and when we're new into an industry, we're going to see teething problems, and things like this are definitely teething problems. But if we manage to come through the other side, which obviously I do believe we will, we'll be very grateful that we managed to get into the industry so early. Let's continue on with this though. So a national Australian bank executive said the scammers are part of organised and international crime groups that use crypto platforms to send stolen funds overseas. Now, we can see here that this isn't the first bank that has blocked transactions with cryptocurrency exchanges. This has happened actually in Hong Kong recently. Before we continue with today's stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Back to what I was saying. So Hong Kong has tried to fight to become a cryptocurrency hotspot. They are doing everything in their power to be at the forefront of the next cryptocurrency bull market, and they've positioned themselves very, very nicely. A lot of different cryptocurrency companies are heading over there to Hong Kong for their HQ because of how they are treating the industry right now. Now, they've said they're not going to be lenient on regulation, but they're going to be transparent, and it's going to be clear. And that, to be honest, is all we can ask for. That's something the US can't provide so far. So what we have seen here is a lot of growth of cryptocurrency in Hong Kong, but then all of a sudden one of their banks said, you know what, we can't work with these cryptocurrency companies, and the regulators are actually trying to persuade the banks to work with the cryptocurrency companies. So there's huge problems here, as I said, with the integration between the interoperability between Web 2 and Web 3, the traditional financial systems and the cryptocurrency space, because at the end of the day, cryptocurrency is amazing, but we need to grow those connections between the banks and the centralized exchanges, because we're not going to see adoption if people can't easily move their fiat to and from cryptocurrency, and we have these fiat on and off ramps. Let's continue with the next piece of news and see what else is going on here. So we have XRP surpasses Bitcoin. Let's move back to XRP news. XRP surpasses Bitcoin as highest volume asset following Ripple's win in the SEC case. And now volatility is what we all like to see. The XRP army have been accumulating through that period of time, and then we have leverage traders that just come and take advantage of that nice big move to the upside. XRP absolutely exploded. In fact, let's take a look at the XRP price right now on cryptosavingexpert.com. If you have not already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look here. So we have XRP ranked number 4 in terms of market cap. It is currently at $74 74 cents. I was almost going to say $74 there. So you can see here, it did wick very nicely, almost up to $1 at 94 cents. But prior to this court rulings, we were sat at 47 cents. So it's seen a massive move to the upside, and with that volatility, we've seen a huge influx in trading volumes. So this has definitely been a really nice week for cryptocurrency and XRP traders and hodlers there. Let's continue with the latest news and see what else is going on here. Let's take a look in with the chat. Terry Toucan said, "You are the queen." Thanks, Terry Toucan. We've also got here, Black Sales says, when 32K this? Hopefully soon. We'll discuss that. We'll be analysing the price of Bitcoin at the end of today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned until then. Black Sales say banks in panic. Yes, definitely. It's very difficult to see the issues, as I say, with the interoperability between the traditional financial system and the cryptocurrency industry. Let's see what's going on here. So Hennett says, what is it with Binance FUD? Binance FUD spurts like wildfire. It's like everybody in the cryptocurrency industry wants Binance to go down. Honestly, that's my worst nightmare. So let's continue with the latest cryptocurrency news. That's not because I hold money on Binance. I tend not to use centralized exchanges. That is because Binance going down would be one of the worst things that you could possibly see happen to cryptocurrency. So that is something I do fear for. Let's continue with the next crypto news, see what else is going on. So we have, let's get back to it. The Ethereum derivative-backed stablecoin Athena raises $6 million. So it's not all bad in cryptocurrency. We're seeing a lot of investment and fundraising for new companies in the space within the last couple of weeks. Significant strides in developing a revolutionary stablecoin on the Ethereum network, potentially. So we can see Athena here is a stablecoin. So let's take a look at this. The company, which focuses on creating a stablecoin secured by Ether derivatives, has recently secured a $6 million seed funding led by Dragonfly Capital. Now, if you are interested in this article, I'll drop the link to it in today's stream. To be honest, I want to move on to the next one. So let's see what else is going on here. So we have the SEC acknowledges another Bitcoin ETF filing by Zalkari. So what we have here is a bunch of institutions applying for spot Bitcoin ETFs, and we've seen a massive move to the upside because of that, and now the SEC have actually acknowledged these filings. Now, I'm not going to say all the usual stuff. We all know how great spot Bitcoin ETFs are, but what actual benefits will this bring to the cryptocurrency industry? First of all, if you're not confident that the price of Bitcoin will increase off the back of these ETFs actually being launched, if they're accepted, take a look at the price of gold and take a look at the influence that a spot gold ETF had on the price of gold. That amount of adoption that it drives is something that you can't ignore. That if you see what happened to gold following an ETF launch, you'll be able to see why people are so bullish on spot Bitcoin ETFs. Spot Bitcoin ETF is a stock essentially on the traditional exchanges like the Nasdaq that is pegged one-to-one to the price of Bitcoin. So people will get exposure to the cryptocurrency space in their traditional investment decisions, but through this ETF, and then eventually they may decide they want to buy their own Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people are actually concerned that we could inflate the number of Bitcoins through ETFs. Now, because obviously BlackRock, let's say BlackRock hold 1 million Bitcoin, and then they decide they want to sell 2 million Bitcoins worth of the ETF. Obviously, this would artificially impact the amount of Bitcoin in supply, but this isn't actually possible for Bitcoin. This is a concern a lot of people have. If we can see on the transparent blockchain how much Bitcoin BlackRock hold or other institutions hold, we would be able to see some fears spread around the market. Now, if you were somebody that invested into BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF and you realized that they'd sold 2 million shares when they only actually held 1 million Bitcoin, would you or would you not go and sell your asset for the price of 1 Bitcoin and go and actually buy 1 Bitcoin yourself? If we saw that happening, we'd see a huge bank run. It would be a massive problem for BlackRock, obviously. they'd have to give all of their shareholders the value. So it's something that I don't see happening, a concern that I've seen a lot, which I don't think needs to be a concern. Let's continue with the latest news and see what else is going on here. So we have this morning the UK FCA. Now, don't get me started on this. So they've cracked down on misleading crypto memes, proposes jail term for offenders. So the FCA said crypto memes are subject to regulation and offenders could face jail terms. Now, I think Jordan's just summed this up pretty nicely on his Twitter. So let's pull that up and see what he's had to say on this news. So that Martini guy has just tweeted, and I quote, "The UK regulators are the most incompetent and stupid regulators of all the regulatory bodies globally. We left the EU to pursue economic freedom allegedly. The new crypto guidelines written by the FCA are so restrictive. I pay these people millions in taxes every year and they want to destroy my industry." So what we have seen here is the UK FCA impose tight regulation on the cryptocurrency space and with very broad terminology. So what we can see in this one, in terms of the meme coins, I would like to say this new regulation isn't just for the meme coins, it is for the entire cryptocurrency industry. This one here says crypto memes are subject to regulation. The regulators said they had been an uprising in crypto memes and other similar communications targeting UK residents by financial influencers known as finfluencers, many of which fall short of the existing guidance. So according to the FCA, memes are capable of being a financial promotion, therefore they are subject to S21 of the Financial Services and Markets Act, which prohibits the communication of invitations or inducements to engage in any investment activity by unauthorized persons. So if you are making content about cryptocurrency, I'll put that link to you. Oh, no, I won't. I'll put the link to this for you in the chat so you can see what's going on there. And it says the wrong side of the move. Yes, it seems that this is following the meme coin move to the upside, but it seems like that meme coin phase has kind of come to an end. I would actually say that they've acted on that a lot quicker than I would have expected them to. So let's continue with the rest of the cryptocurrency news here. Coinbase still risks being labelled as a security, warns some analysts here. Now, as I've said on this live stream before, to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity, we use the Howey test. The Howey test says if you meet these 4 conditions, it's a security. One of those conditions, which really is a very important prong to the 4 confirmations, is that you're expecting profit based on somebody else's efforts. Now with Coinbase Earn, what you're doing is you're depositing your funds into Coinbase and you're letting Coinbase do the rest. You're letting them generate interest for you. So with that, there's a concern there that prong of the Howey test is actually met and Coinbase Earn is still could be labelled as a security. Now, we have seen Coinbase roll back the Earn and not actually offer it to specific regions because of some regulatory concerns. This is definitely something that I'm looking at and seeing it's something Coinbase could face as a problem in the future. Moving on from that, let's talk about Twitter, something more interesting. Let me know in the chat, by the way, do you still use Threads? I mean, I downloaded Threads for the first couple of days. It was interesting. It was good fun. The user interface was really, really nice. And then I found some issues like there's no website. You can't just log in on your computer. You also can't be logged into 2 accounts at once. So obviously I'm on the Crypto Saving Expert social medias, then I'm on my own and I can't switch between the 2 for Threads. There's loads of issues like that. And now I know obviously it's the first version of the application, but I mean, they've got Instagram, they've got Facebook, they know how it all works. And they could have fixed up some of those key issues there, I would say. And since then, it seems to have got a bit dull. I prefer Twitter. I've been using cryptocurrency Twitter again, but let me know in the chat what you've been using, which one you prefer. I also think that maybe I didn't give it enough time. Now, with social media, obviously the algorithm needs to do its thing and find out what you like and what you don't like. But with Threads, it was hard to just give it its time. It was throwing things at me that I just didn't want to read. Crypto Twitter knows exactly what I want to say and it puts it right in my face, and that's how I like it. Let's continue with this news though. Let me know in the chat, do you use Threads or not? We have here Elizabeth Warren asks SEC to investigate Elon Musk's dual roles at Twitter and Tesla. So she believes there could be some sort of overlap essentially due to potential and legal and ethical issues. So because he is CEO of both companies, she suggested that employee transfers may have involved costs that are relevant to investors and said that the action could be a violation of state and federal law. So That's the concerns that we are seeing here. Whether that actually happens or not, who knows? And I don't think this is really too cryptocurrency related, but we do know that she is very anti-cryptocurrency and very anti-fun. I mean, I don't know if I should have said that. Let's continue with this. Gary Gensler disappointed in Ripple ruling regarding retail investors. So Gary Gensler disappointed in Ripple. So the SEC said the agency would review the opinion and continue working to bring non-compliant firms into compliance. Now, obviously, we have seen the SEC lose this ruling against XRP. It's shocked. They are disappointed in their decision. They said their statement, the SEC's statement after XRP winning in those courts, was that they were proud to announce that one of the ways in which XRP is used constitutes as a security, and that is the sale to institutional investors. They were proud to announce that they'd found an asset that was unregistered security in one instance out of 4. It was very strange wording that. But that's the most of the cryptocurrency news today. Let's see what's going on in the charts here. So first of all, why are we on light mode? I hate light mode. Anyway, let's get on with the cryptocurrency news today. Terry Toucan says, I use Threads. Oh, I wear Threads. Me too. We've also seen Colin M says, market dump incoming. Well, that's the question on everyone's lips, and that's the question we're going to answer today. Let's see what's going on here. Before we get onto the Bitcoin price, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Also, make sure to go over to cryptosavingexpert.com, the best cryptocurrency news website out there. If you press this big blue button at the top and you create an account with all of this information and you tick that box as well, you get access to our newsletter every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. BST time, and you also get access to all of the amazing courses on the cryptosavingexpert.com website. And the team have been working very, very hard to make that website and fill it with all the fabulous content it's got, so make sure to take advantage of it while you can. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin now and see what is going on. So you can see clearly $29,995 is the current price for Bitcoin. Let me refresh this page. Let's see if we can get into action here. Oh, we're in dark mode all of a sudden. Perfect, just what I wanted. So what we can see here, Bitcoin's currently trading at $29,888. Now let's take a look at this quickly. I would like to hope that we can hold this level of support. We have a level of support which is from back here on the 22nd of June. If I pull this out, you can see we've used it again as a support on the 6th of July, and we wicked it again on the 14th of July. We bounced it earlier on Monday, and now we are retesting it again. Now, Bitcoin, do we really need to retest that again? Can't we just go up? What we are seeing here is some concerns around this support. Now, obviously, there's a reason to be concerned here. We have seen some really bullish momentum for Bitcoin in the last couple of weeks off the back of those BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs and many other institutions filing for those ETFs. But then we struggled to break through that $32,000 level, and we've been in this $2,000 range between $29,500 to $31,500 for 3 weeks now, coming on 4 weeks. And with that, the bullish momentum is dulling. Now, we've seen that obviously there's so much excitement around these spot Bitcoin ETFs, but what we are seeing is that the momentum can't last forever. If that resistance isn't going to break, we're not just going to sit sideways and sit here. We are going to see some volatility in the markets. Now, that sounded really fearful. I'm not feeling really fearful. What I'm feeling right now is we are like 8 months away from the Bitcoin halving. I'm feeling super duper bullish. But what I am saying is we have lost some of that bullish momentum because of this long period of time being able to break through that $32,000 level. Now, Jerome says, imagine the ETF candle. Now, yeah, if you take a look at XRP and see what's happened, now the courts have ruled in favor of XRP, I imagine we'd see something similar as soon as the spot Bitcoin ETFs are actually accepted. That would cause a huge amount of excitement in the markets, a huge amount of volatility. So what we can see here is obviously we are retesting this level of support. Fingers crossed on the 4-hour chart this holds. If we see a 4-hour candle close below that level, at around $29,800, then we can expect some more downwards action. Now, we have another level of support that we can look at, and that is at the 29.5 level. So if we take a look at this, you can see we've wicked this a couple of times here. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's add some indicators into the mix and see what's going on here. So let's take a look at the RSI. Let's take a look at the MACD. In the chat, Randy is saying, no, not Randy. Randy is using Twitter, Telegram, and Instagram and doesn't need Threads. Randy, I'm on the same page. That's what I'm thinking too. Also, what else have we got in the chat here? We have a message from Colin M, which says, CFC website is amazing with some really good tutorials. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Colin, for those positive words. If you have not already tested out cryptosavingexpert.com, then what are you doing? It's the best cryptocurrency website out there. It has every single thing you need to know about cryptocurrency. We've jam-packed that website full of information, so I definitely recommend checking it out. Let's take a look at this. So I'll come back to that comment in a second. Black sales, what we can see here is the RSI is down. We are looking at being slightly oversold here. It's down at 37, not massively, not significantly, but it's still more oversold than neutral. And what we can see here is on the MACD, on the 4-hour chart, the bullish momentum is growing. As I said, we had a huge amount of bullish momentum here, and then it all came to a standstill for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So what we are seeing here now is that bullish momentum weakening on the 1-hour chart. Again, bullish momentum on the MACD, still pretty close to that baseline though. And the RSI is looking slightly oversold, if anything. So hopefully we do see this bounce on the 4-hour chart, but we do have to wait and see. If we do see a bounce on the 4-hour chart, then what am I looking at? Let's look at more positive things here. So what I'd be looking at is this price range here between the $30,300 level to the $30,400 level. But if we do see that nice big bounce to the upside, I'd be feeling a lot happier about the markets right now. We are still holding this support. I would like to point out, when we're still holding a support, there's no reason to be fearful. So only if we see a 4-hour candle close below this point, in which I'll start to feel a little bit nervous. But let's take a look at the chat. Black Sales says, Bitcoin always dumped hard before halving. What if they pull that dump earlier this time? Now let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So let's go to BTC USD here. Let's go to Bitstamp. If we take a look at this chart and we move all the way out to the weekly chart here, and we go to reset the price scale, and then we can add in some Bitcoin halving events is what we're looking for. James says super duper pump, please. That's exactly what we want to see, a super duper move to the upside. Let's take a look at this. So we've put the Bitcoin halvings on this chart, and you can see obviously we do have some fluctuations in the price. I mean, it's Bitcoin, we always do, but typically if you take a look at the past halvings, if you take a look at the year prior to the Bitcoin halving, there's been a net increase. Now there may be a dump in terms of the more closer time frames. You can see here there's a slight move to the downside here just before, there's a slight move to the downside here just before, and there's a slight move to, I mean, this is the pandemic here, so you can't really call this a correlation with the halving, but I would say those movements to the downside are just part of the volatility of Bitcoin. Overall, the year prior to a Bitcoin halving is bullish. We were trading in April this year at around $30,000. It was actually at this high here. So this is the April at which the price is, this is the point at which it's a year prior to the Bitcoin halving. So if we look at the price here, it was at $30,000. If that pattern is going to repeat itself of Bitcoin moving up in the year prior to the Bitcoin halving as a net movement, then we should expect the Bitcoin to be higher than $30,000 by the time April arises. Now, this is what arrives. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at these 4-year cycles in a lot of detail this time. And I'm looking at these trends and I'm focusing on those because it's so easy to get caught up in what's happening in terms of what the sentiment on cryptocurrency Twitter. But I'm trying to look at the bigger picture here and see what potential there is and look at the 4-year cycles and then putting that back on the current price and seeing what's happening now. Now, obviously, there's so many different things going on. We're fighting regulation more than ever. We've got spot Bitcoin ETFs stepping in. We've got loads of different things happening. But that's always the way in crypto. Every single time people say this time's going to be different. This time we're going to see this. This time we've got that. So we're going to see this hyper bull market. We're going to see this long bear market. There's always people on all sides of the spectrum saying all different things. And there's always a reason why. There's always a news story that could make this time different. But this time, for me, I'm just following the patterns, and I'm not going to let any news stories or any major things let me stray too far away from that. Now, obviously, for example, when XRP won in the court, that changed my decision, that changed my plans. I wasn't planning to long XRP at that point in time. I took advantage of that news story. But on the whole, on the bigger time frames, when I'm looking at the bigger picture and I'm looking at the weekly chart and I'm looking at the monthly chart, I'm following these 4-year cycles. What we can see here is that that Bitcoin was at $30,000 a year prior to what's going to be the Bitcoin halving. And typically in history, the price has increased as a whole on that year before. So that is what I'm expecting. But you know, this time could be different. It could be wrong, but only time will tell. Nothing is financial advice here on the channel. We're all speculating on an incredibly volatile asset, but that's part of the fun. Let's see what's going on in the smaller time frames, though. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. James says BlackRock will manipulate dump the price so they can buy trillions. Or have they been buying this entire time? That's the question here. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. We saw a move to the upside, then we saw a big dump to the downside. I also would like to compare this price movement to the price when Tesla said they were accepting Bitcoin as a means of payment. And I'm not talking about when they withdrew that statement. On the couple of hours in which they said that statement and it became true, we saw a huge move to the upside, some sideways action. And then when the news really sunk in, everyone was just like, okay, that's cool. Now let's go back to the price we were at before. And that seems to have happened for XRP here as well. So what we can see here is obviously we are seeing a sharp move to the downside. The last time we hit this level of support, my lines have gone, we're on the wrong chart, BTC USDT. So the last time that it hit this level of support, we did see a very strong move to the upside. We saw it again here. We saw it with this wick, and we saw it again here. So this has been acting as it's been acting like a trampoline for the price of Bitcoin right now. And hopefully that continues. But if it does not, then I am personally looking down at that $29,500 level there. But that is all really we have for today's stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I have really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. And make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com, one of the best cryptocurrency websites out there. In fact, the best cryptocurrency website out there. Give us a follow, give us a like, go to all of the social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Give us a follow and make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com and press that big blue sign up button right there at the top of the page. That one there, press sign up, create an account, first name, last name, email, password, tick that box. That's all you need to do. And then you can press that big sign up button and get access to the entire website. But that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all back here tomorrow. Goodbye. Let me turn off on the other side. Goodbye.